In a true story that sounds stranger than fiction, a 7-year-old boy managed to survive alone for 5 days in a huge game park in Zimbabwe filled with lions, leopards, and hippos. But how did he do it? Well, the child, whose name is Tinotenda Pudu, was reported as missing on December 27th. He was from a rural village near the game park. Zimbabwe's Parks and Wildlife Management Authority stated that remarkably, it is estimated that he walked through the harsh terrain of the lion-infested Madusidona National Park for 49 kilometers or 30 miles from his village to the point where he was found. During this period, he survived on wild fruits and would dig a small hole along the dry riverbank to access underground water to drink, a technique that is well known in drought-prone areas. Madusidona National Park spans about 750 square miles and once contained the highest density of lions in all of Africa. Now 40 lions call the park home. Other inhabitants include leopard, buffalo, zebra, elephant, hippo, and an impressive variety of antelope species. Part of why it took so long for the boy to be found is because heavy rainfall interfered with the rescue effort. But on December 30th, his footprints were identified and he was rescued the next day. A member of Zimbabwe's parliament said of the ordeal, "This is a testament to the power of unity, hope, prayer, and never giving up." What an incredible story. So glad to hear that this kid is safe and seemingly on the mend. We were talking in the morning meeting about how an American child would fare in a similar sort of situation, but it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison. I love that he knew to dig for water, though. I know that they said that it's somewhat common knowledge in drought prone areas like that, but still at 5, 7 years old, that's impressive. And he was able to keep himself alive for that long. Sharon, what a nice story.
It's a great story. And he didn't have an Apple Watch or an iPad, and he was somehow able to make it through. To me, it speaks of living in harmony with your surroundings, the environment, nature, the animals. Maybe I'm making too much of it, and if Hollywood gets a hold of it, it'll turn into something else, some other magical tale. Disney will be involved. But I think it's remarkable that this young child is self-sufficient enough, had been taught enough. I hate downing American children. After all, I have one. I don't know that I do know. It wouldn't be going down like that. You would have heard her, though. She wouldn't need the phone. You would have heard her hundreds of miles away saying, "Get me out of here." Okay? That I can assure you.
Well, look, we can put down American kids because it's true. They wouldn't do well in that sort of environment. But you drop that kid in Compton for 3 days, and we'll see how that kid does with just digging for water.
Our kids have a different skill set.
Forget it. Exactly. Different skill set. That's where you need the American kid, you see. So, but I love that you're right. The harmony associated with the land and those who live off the land, it's played out in that story. And of course, that's the most heartwarming part of it. And it's helped enormously because the child survived. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to right now, everybody is so plugged in. And I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just me projecting my own feelings, but I feel like people are very frustrated with technology and social media, and they just want to break from all of it. And especially some of the stories that we covered tonight seem to support that. There's everybody's trying to get you from one angle or another. And I think there is just a desire to get back to nature and to just feel reacclimated with the world that we live in. We live in these houses and these apartments, and we're always in these buildings and in these cars. So it's easy for us to feel separate from nature, but it's I'm going to get all hippie on you, but we don't live with nature. We are nature, and it's weird to me how detached we've become from our surroundings and from our planet. And I think if we could just get back to that, I think people would stop being so mean to the planet and stop cutting down all of our trees. I get so frustrated when they cut down the trees, but I
always say I'm a tree hugger, and trees need hugging. I mean, it really is good to hear somebody else say, "Hey, let's stop with the clear cutting, and let's try to balance what is an imbalanced planet." And it's imbalanced because of what we've done. So, I mean, we have the power to rebalance it on some level. And there was a lot about the the relationship that kid felt with his surroundings that led to a positive end to that story. So I think Sharon's right to mention that.
Yeah, and I think it's also one of those situations where it reminds me of, like what you were talking about, Mark, about what's happening in my own surroundings. Because right now, where I live in more of a suburban area. And everywhere you look, if there's a patch of green, it's not going to be there for very long because they're going to pave over it. Whatever trees are there, they're going to cut them down and they're going to build this ugly concrete building in its place. And it's going to be up for lease. And then something dumb is going to come there, like another Hot Works or another gas station, because I live in Texas and there's gas stations literally everywhere. I was driving the other night and there was a 4-way stop and there was a gas station on every single corner. Like, that's where I live and that's what they do here. And the development in this country and around the world, it is kind of like a Ponzi scheme, but it's the same thing. Like so many of the stories that we've covered tonight, as far as capitalism and how it's just out of control, especially when it's unchecked by the people who are supposed to check it. You have to keep building and you have to keep developing. Even if you're building buildings that nobody wants, that nobody is asking for, that aren't going to be occupied, they still have to do it because it kind of runs sort of like a Ponzi scheme in that way. So,
well, I mean,
anyway.
The last thing I would just say one other thing on that, because we are going to enter a period of deregulation, and I view that as horrifying. Because when you look at regulations, and they call it the cumbersome regulations, I view them as protections. And when we're talking about the environment, these regulations are the things that protect the environment. When you talk about Texas, where Jazz lives, it's the chemical coast, they call it down there, where there are all of those different chemical areas, the Superfund sites. They're more around Houston than any other place in the country. You've got the drilling and the exploitation of oil resources there with a kind of literally a reckless abandon. You need regulations, you need protections for that which has no voice, and that's the environment. So I'd like to see some modest regulations survive this Trump administration, but I'm really worried that there won't be much when it comes to the environment.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's all about the here and now. Atlanta too, where I am, is more and more this concrete jungle. Something as simple as sunlight. We need sunlight. We need this, vitamin D to survive and have good mental health. Something as simple as that. And it seems to be going away as more and more live for the now. Who cares about future generations? Who cares about Mother Earth? It really does resonate. It really is sad, and I wish more people would pay attention.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.